I'm Diane Kimbrough. The holiday of Shavuot is right around the corner, and when we think of Shavuot, we always think of dairy foods. The quintessential one would be Blintzes, and so I'm going to teach you how to make Blintzes today. Now, nobody's really sure where these came from. Some say from Hungary, some say Poland, others say Russia, Austria. Basically, we know it's an Ashkenazi recipe that was brought here by our grandparents and great-grandparents. This is a recipe that we do in several steps, and we're going to start the first one now, which is fixing the batter for the Blintzes skins. And for that, we're going to take 2 eggs, crack those. And then we're going to add a 1/2 cup of milk, a 1/2 cup of water, and 2 tablespoons of melted butter or margarine. Now we're just going to blend those to beat the eggs into the mixture. Okay, now we're going to add a 1/4 teaspoon of salt and 1 cup of just all-purpose flour. And we'll mix that. And then this has to rest in the refrigerator for 2 to 3 hours. It could even rest overnight, but we're going to let it chill in the refrigerator before we make our Blintzes skins. So I'll give that one last stir, and then we're just going to pour it in a container so that it can go in the refrigerator. There we go, and we'll snap the lid, and in it goes. Now we're going to make the filling for the Blintzes. This is a cheese-based filling, and the original recipe calls for cottage cheese that either was a dry curd cottage cheese or you would drain a regular small curd cottage cheese and then press that through a small sieve. Now, contemporary recipes have eliminated the cottage cheese and they have gone to cream cheese or ricotta, but I'm doing this the original way because that's what my mom would have done. And so I already have the cottage cheese pressed here, and I just wanted you to see how creamy the consistency of this is over just a regular cottage cheese. It almost looks like a cream cheese, but I have pressed this through a sieve. And so that's what we're going to be using. We have 2 cups of the cottage cheese in the bowl, and we are going to add 1 egg. That's beaten. One tablespoon of sugar, and then a teaspoon of grated lemon zest. And I'm using one of my favorite kitchen tools, a microplaner, because that gives a really, really fine grate to the lemon. And that lemon flavor is something that just brightens the filling of this beautifully. So we're going to get it's about the same amount as 1/2 of a lemon zested. A little bit more here. And when you're zesting, you definitely do not want to get the white part of the skin in. That has a bitter flavor. So we only take the very brightest part, the yellow part, off of the skin. That looks really good. Okay. And then I'm going to add just a dash of vanilla. That's kind of an optional thing, but I like just a couple of drops of vanilla in it. And now we're going to mix that so that it's all combined. And that's really all there is to the filling. It's very, very simple. But boy, is it delicious. And there we have it, all combined and ready to make our blintzes. So we have our batter made, and we've made the filling for the blintzes. The next step is to actually cook the blintzes skins. There are a couple of different ways that you can do this. If you have a 7-inch nonstick skillet, you can put just a little bit of butter or oil in that, very, very little, almost put it in and then wipe it out. And then you're going to add a couple tablespoons of the batter to it and run that around on the inside of the skillet so that it makes a very, very paper thin coating. And as the edges dry, you'll flip that out onto a plate. I happen to have an electronic crepe maker, and so this is a very easy way to make the Blintzes skins. So I'm going to stir this batter just a little bit and pour it into a shallow dish. Now with the crepe maker, all that I do is put that onto the batter, and it will coat itself on the pan like this. And if there's a little bubble in the middle, I just take a tiny bit of the batter and fill in that bubble. Sometimes the first few will do that and bubble up just a hair. And then it only takes about 30 seconds for these to cook. You'll see the edges get dry, and actually the light, there it is, the light's on, telling us that it's done. And I like to cook it just a hair longer than that, but then it just flips out onto a plate. Come on, there we go. And we have our first one. Perfect. We'll fill in the little spot a bit. And it should be done in just a moment. Now, if there is a bubble or two in there, it's really not going to matter, because once these are filled and folded, that's going to be covered. Just about ready. These are going to be so delicious. Just waiting for the light to come on, and there it is. And it fell right off. Perfect. We'll do one more. Beautiful. You can do a number of different things for fillings in this. Of course, this time we made it with a cheese filling, but you could also fill these with ground meat, seasoned ground meat, and you fold them up. You do the skins and fold them up at the end just exactly as you would with the cheese filling. And also fruit fillings are very popular. So you could do raspberries, blueberries, cherries. And the thing that you want to make sure of with the fruit filling is that that fruit is very, very dry and drained before you put it into the blintze, because as it cooks, it's going to release a lot of juice. And we want to keep those blintzes just a little bit drier. Our light's on. Here we go. So I would continue making those till this whole batch is done, and that'll make about 16 blintzes. Now we're going to move ahead and start to fill them. Now we have a beautiful plate of blintze skins, and we're ready to fill them. The nice thing about these is they don't stick to one another. So you can easily take one off We're going to lay it out flat and take about 2 tablespoons of the filling and put it near the end of the skin. And then I'm going to fold it up from the bottom to about the middle. And then I'm going to fold each side over toward the center and then fold it one more time to make it kind of like an envelope. Okay? And we're going to do all of our skins this way, taking them one at a time, putting about 2 tablespoons of filling in, just above the edge, maybe an inch up from the edge. Fold it forward, take the sides in toward the middle, and then roll it one more time. And you want to have all the ends tucked under on the bottom side. And when you do the filling, you can see the skins have a little bit of brown from where they were cooked. That side faces up into the filling. Do a couple more here. Up, in, and over. It's really fun. I think you'll have a lot of fun making these, and they sure are delicious. And fold up, and fold in toward the center, and then forward. So there we are, and we'll finish this whole stack, and then we'll go on to the cooking portion. Okay, now we're ready to cook these blintzes. So I have a nonstick skillet on about a medium heat, and I have a little bit of butter in the bottom of the skillet. So we're going to place the blintzes into the warm butter, and then we're going to let those kind of fry up. And we're placing them seam side down. And there we go. And we're just going to let those cook for a bit. When these start to get gold on the bottom side, you're going to flip them over so that we crisp up on the other side as well. Oh, those are perfect. It probably takes about 3 to 4 minutes on that first side, and they're ready to turn. So the blintzes are done, and I have them plated, and the last thing is to taste them. So I have sour cream, and then I've made just a little bit of blueberry compote. So I just took some fresh blueberries, maybe half a cup of blueberries, and about 2 teaspoons of sugar, and just warmed those up. And so we're going to put that on the blintz. I'm a firm believer that we eat with our eyes. So we want our plating to be beautiful. And everybody gets a little bit of blueberries and a dollop of sour cream. Fine. Okay, so much for pretty plating. You know what happens when you do that? That's the one that you eat. So we're going to go for it. That is so good. Now, one thing I want to mention to you, if you don't have time to cook your blintzes, Once they're all folded and in their little packages, they can be frozen on a single layer, just on a sheet pan with wax paper in your freezer. And then once those are pretty solid, you can take them out and wrap them in packages of 3 or 4 in plastic wrap, and then slip those into a Ziploc bag. And then when you're ready to cook them, bring them out and let them come to room temperature, and go ahead and cook them just like we did these. I hope you enjoy making Blintzes. I've had a lot of fun sharing it with you.